Hey, what's up YouTube? Mike here with Crazy Cyber logging in, and today we are going to be upgrading the RAM and the SSD on the Acer Aspire 5. In this video, all we're going to be doing is installing these two components. I'm not going to show how to remove the back tray because I've already done that in the battery replacement video. I'll link that here at the top of the screen now. Let's get started. Alright, so here we have the RAM and here we have the SSD. Here we have Acer brand RAM memory upgrade. I went with this one just because it absolutely ensures compatibility. We have 16 gigabytes operating at 2666 megahertz, and as you can see, the old Kingston memory is only 4 gigabytes, so we are quadrupling the RAM on this laptop, which is going to have a significant impact on performance. Most laptops, pretty much all laptops, have these RAM mounts, and you really just pop them up and pull them over. Pull this one over, and then it'll pop up just like that. And we're going to go ahead and gently pull that out. So here's something that if you're new to hardware replacement, you'll want to take note of, and that is this keyway right here. You can see the RAM slots into that keyway, and it is offset. You can see the right side is slightly shorter than the left, so you're going to want to make sure that you install it properly. It's pretty hard to install it backwards. This side is almost always facing up on laptops. So we're going to go ahead and pop our new module out of the package, and we're going to gently slide that in and push it down, and then you'll hear the click of these clips sliding in place to hold that in there. And that's the RAM upgraded. Super easy, great way to boost the performance of your laptop. Now we're going to move on to the SSD, and as I mentioned before, in order to do this you'll need a Phillips head 00 precision screwdriver bit. So we're going to come to the SSD, and it's held in by one screw here. So we're going to take that out. It definitely benefits you to have a magnetic screwdriver here because the screw will just lift out. We can leave that on the screwdriver for reinstalling. Now we're just going to pop this out. And you can see the configuration here. You can see that the old drive is 512 gigabytes and the new one is 1 terabyte. And it's kind of cool, it came with a screwdriver. And when you start getting into this hobby, you can never have too many screwdrivers, especially precision ones. So, for install, we're going to pop this out. You can see that it is in the same configuration as the old drive, which is what we're looking for. And we are going to go ahead, take that in. We're going to gently slot that in. Okay, now that is slotted in, it is installed. You're going to want to make sure you can't see any more of the pin showing, and then we will install our M.2 screw in order to secure the drive. So again guys, I'm sorry about the filming. I have a new tripod on the way. I left my other one at a buddy's house and haven't had time to go get it. So we're going to use our magnetic screwdriver to hold that, secure the drive in place. You don't want to absolutely crank down on this, but you want to make sure it's more than hand tight. So that is the two components, the two memory components upgraded. So there we go. Increase the memory by about 49% and increase the RAM by 400%. So definitely gonna see a pretty substantial boost in performance from these upgrades. Now all that is left to do is to replace the laptop cover. We can see here that as opposed to the battery replacement video, we did it with the hinges facing forward to have better access to the RAM. So in the case orientation, you see that that's clearly where the hinges go, so it's going to go like that. Now these covers 99.9% of the time have clips in them to secure them, so we're going to go ahead and clip that in. Come on the other side, clip here. Now we're going to go to the opposite corner and the sides and just work our way along, putting it inside the clips. We're going to press evenly along the surface, and if you have to use a ton of force, it's probably not lined up properly and you could end up breaking the clips. So I went through this in my battery replacement video, but the installation of the screws here is important because all of the screws from the bottom of this label, including these side screws and this middle screw here, are all substantially longer than the front 3 screws. So we're going to make sure we install them in the proper places in order to avoid any damage. So we are going to go ahead and take a screw. We're going to start with our first screw here. And again, you don't want to absolutely crank down on these. Make it just slightly more than finger tight. Again, having a strong magnet on your screwdriver will definitely aid you in the process. So one thing that's important is if you feel the screwdriver start to cam out or slip on the head of the screw, then it's too tight. You want to be able to slight firm downward pressure, just snug it up, right? As you can see from the factory, these screws do come with Loctite on them. That's that blue material in the threads of the screw that helps keep the screws in place. Think of it as like sort of like a glue on the threads of the screws to hold them in place. See how it cammed out there? Just snugging it up. Hear that click down? A tip to get your thread to thread in properly and avoid any cross threading or damage to the inserts or screw is to actually spin it backwards. And typically when you do that, what happens is once the bolt or the screw reaches past its final thread, it seats back down square into the threads. That's something that I learned in my time as a mechanic. You can see that these screws here are significantly shorter than the screws we put in the other locations in the laptop. Final install of the last screw, and now this boot drive, the drive is now blank, so just, you know, proof of concept. Oh, I forgot. Before I did this, I let the battery die because you don't want any current going through the motherboard, or at least have it off. But it's better to let the battery die. So I'm going to throw this on the charger, and then we'll show the the disk specs and the RAM specs and all that. Now we're gonna turn this on. Now, one thing I want you guys to okay, there we go. Because we have just put a completely blank device in the laptop, this laptop does not have anything to boot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install my, put in my Kali Linux flash drive that I installed Kali from. And I'm going to give you guys kind of a preview of the next video in this series, which will be setting up the laptop with Kali Linux and a bunch of penetration testing tools. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that USB in, and I'll show you that the drive is working and it is free and available. Guys, so now here we are on the section of the Kali Linux install where we need to partition the disks. I'm going to be going through the whole process of setting this up in the next video. For now, I'm just trying to show you guys that the disk is there. So you can see it right there, the 1 terabyte drive. We can select that, select what we want to partition. But as you can see, the computer is recognizing the disk, and it is available to partition and install Kali Linux. So super quick and easy upgrades, and a great way to boost the performance of your Acer Aspire 5. This upgrade process is relatively similar for every single laptop on the market, and it's a great way to, you know, save some money. Because if you buy the parts yourselves and install them yourself, you save a lot of money on buying them with those parts pre-installed. Especially if you pick yours up from Facebook Marketplace for $50. At some point I'll total up everything that I've spent so far on this laptop, but it's definitely under $150 so far. All the parts I used for this, these upgrades will be linked in the description if you guys want to do the same to yours. And additionally, laptop RAM is pretty much universal. So this 16 gigabyte RAM made by Acer will most likely fit in almost any laptop and work. You would definitely want to double check that and make sure. But in my experience, they pretty much are all interchangeable. So there we go, guys. Another project done. This laptop is coming along, and very soon it's going to be a beast. And I'm going to take you guys through the entire process of making it a beast. Mike with Crazy Cyber, logging off.